Hey guys, and welcome to week 1 of your English composition course. I have created this video quiz to help guide you through some of the important information you'll be provided in this first week of our class. So here I am on the home page, and you'll see this quote. This is from Terry Tempest Williams, and she writes, "Conversation is the vehicle for change. We test our ideas. We hear our own voice in concert with another. And inside those pauses of listening, we approach new territories of thought. A good argument, call it a discussion, frees us." I believe wholeheartedly in the importance of academic discussion, respectful discourse, and we're going to be practicing some academic professional discourse throughout the course of the semester. You can think of this quote as the motto for English composition. So let's go ahead and click on modules and take a look at what's going on in the first week of the course. So at the very top of the page, you'll see the course orientation, and you'll need to complete this course orientation before you move on to the week 1 module. There's the syllabus that you're going to want to read through. It sort of highlights the major writing projects that you'll be completing this semester. There's a plagiarism tutorial. Information from that plagiarism tutorial will appear in the orientation quiz. There's stuff on learning style. This information is optional. I always think it's a good idea to have an understanding of your dominant learning style and how to study or write or read for that particular learning style. Once you have completed the orientation module and the orientation quiz, you're going to move on to week 1. So here in the week 1 overview, you'll see our goals for the week as well as your graded assignments. So we're going to begin with our first unit, which is Race and Justice. All of the readings that we will have in the first few weeks of the course will be on the topic of race and or justice. And your first writing assignment, your first major writing assignment will be a justice narrative. So in week 1, you're going to read your first article, and you're going to complete the reading log 1 assignment, and you'll do this by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Notice here the learning objectives. What I've done here is I've listed all of the learning objectives that assignment helps to prepare you for. And you can learn more about those learning objectives by clicking on the syllabus. They're all listed by number. At the end of the week, you will complete this video quiz. And again, that'll be done by Sunday at 11:59 p.m. Below the week 1 overview, you'll see your first lesson. This is on the SQ3R reading strategy. Whenever I teach this strategy to students, they often say things like, "Why has nobody told me about this before?" A lot of students, a lot of individuals have a hard time retaining what they read, so they'll read something and then they'll close the book or they'll put the text away, and a couple of minutes later, they'll have forgotten what they read. If that's you, then this strategy will help with that problem. Below that, you'll see your first course reading. It's from the book I'm Still Here by Austin Channing Brown. This book is a long narrative. So a narrative is a nonfiction that the author writes about their own life. Austin Channing Brown writes about her experiences as a Black woman growing up in America. This particular chapter, The Other Side of Harmony, is set in her high school years, and I picked it because most of you can sort of relate to that because most of you have actually been through high school. Below that, you'll see your first graded assignment. That's reading log 1 assignment. So if you click on that, it will pull up and it will provide you with directions. So here it says, read the excerpt from Austin Channing Brown's I'm Still Here, Black Dignity in a World Made for Whiteness. A link is provided below. So here's a link to the reading. It's the same reading that we just looked at a second ago in the modules. And then it says, now answer the following questions. How did you feel while reading this article? What personal experiences do you have with the topic being discussed? How has the essay changed the way you think about the topic being discussed, especially in terms of race, which is this unit's theme? How does this article relate to our ongoing discussion of race and justice? Remember that as college students, you are at the start of your professional career, so as you work on your assignments, you want to use professional academic language. Our institution has access to Grammarly, so you can get the full use of Grammarly for free if you just click on this link. Okay. Notice here that there are some requirements for this assignment. It says each paragraph you create should be 5 to 8 sentences and have a topic sentence, supporting sentences, and a conclusion and or transition sentence. Below is a video link to help sort of walk you through that process if it's been a long time since you've done any paragraphing. Below that video are some more directions. It says students are also required to respond to one of their classmates' posts. Please try to find a student who has not received a response yet. Traditionally, students will just sort of respond to the very first person who's posted to the thread, and that first person will get 20 responses, and then the 10th person who posts will get 0 responses. So if we could try to sprinkle that out and spread the love, that would be great. There's a link here for how to write a successful response to another person's post if you're not exactly sure how to do that. Your response should be at least 2 full sentences. That's bare minimum. Remember that these reading logs are public. Once you post, everybody will be able to see them, including me and the rest of your classmates. You want to maintain a respectful and professional demeanor. The same kind of respectful and professional demeanor you would use with me. So if you're responding to a classmate's post, you want to use the same kind of language and tone that you would use if you were communicating with me. Okay, let's go back to modules and take a look at the other really important piece of information I want you to see today. Below your first reading log assignment, you'll see a link to your first major writing project. This major writing project won't be due until the end of week 4, and you won't even really officially begin drafting until week 3. But I posted it here because I want you to start thinking about possible topics. So let's click on it for a second and take a look at the requirements. Okay, so what you're going to be doing in your first formal project is creating a narrative assignment. This means that you're going to be writing about yourself. It says here this is an appropriate beginning for a college level course because it's the subject matter you know best. So you won't be doing any research here. You will be relying on your own life experiences to create this assignment. Over the next few weeks, we're going to be reading articles on or about race and justice. As a class, we'll try to come to an understanding of what the word justice means, what the differences between justice and law are, and when, if ever, the search for justice makes it necessary to break the law. For this first paper, I want you to tell a story about a time when justice or injustice played a particularly significant role in your life. Were you ever the victim of injustice? Did you ever watch while someone else was treated unjustly? Did you ever treat someone unjustly yourself? What happened? And more importantly, how did this experience change you, the way you look at others, and or the way you look at the world? The specific topic is up to you, but the topic should be an effective one. In other words, whatever event you choose to write about, remember that your ultimate goal is to try to communicate both what is personal and unique about your experience, but also what makes them representative and meaningful in a wider sense to a wider audience. Often when students pick narrative topics, they try to pick topics of sort of really important days like graduations and weddings and deaths and funerals and things like that. But often the best narratives are the ones that focus on the small moments in our lives. So for this narrative, you will focus on a moment, an hour, at the most a day. So your entire essay will cover at most a day's worth of time. A day's worth of time in your life. So it says the specific topic is up to you, but it should have something to do with our unit theme. So our theme is race and justice. Now, if you're one of the privileged few, you may not have an experience in your life that has anything to do with race, but all of us have lived experiences that have something to do with justice. And you're going to see some examples of that in your first reading if you have not read that already. So, for instance, Austin Channing Brown talks about her teacher telling her students why she has decided not to have a seating chart anymore. In that moment, the teacher tells her own story about a time when she treated others unjustly. So you could write about a time when you treated other people badly, and what you learned from that and how you may have changed from that experience. Later in that same chapter, she will talk about an experience she had with a white classmate in the classroom. That story is both, I think, an example of Austin Channing Brown being treated unjustly because having to listen to her classmates' racist comments was psychologically painful for her, but also a witness to injustice because she witnesses her classmates' attitude towards all people of color, not just herself. So you may choose to write about a time when you treated somebody else unjustly, but if you've always been a good person and that doesn't apply to you, you might pick a time where somebody treated you unfairly for some reason, or you might pick a time where you actually witnessed somebody being treated unfairly and your sort of reaction to that. Maybe you got involved, maybe you didn't get involved, and how do you feel about that reaction? Right? So even if you write about somebody else's story of being treated unjustly, I want you to focus on you, what you did or did not do, and what that taught you about the kind of person you are and the kind of person you want to be. All of your essays should have some basic elements. There should be a plot, a story. So a narrative is a story. You're going to have characters. At the very least, you yourself will be a character in your own story. A clear setting and a theme. Again, the theme for us is justice. You're going to see in week 3 the writing a narrative handout. Your audience is somebody who doesn't really know your story. They're not familiar with you, your background, your upbringing. You're going to learn more about audience and purpose next week, but I want to sort of introduce this topic to you now, so keep coming back to this. Your purpose is to describe some aspect of your own past in a way that helps someone else realize something about themselves and or the world that they did not already know, and in doing so, come to a better understanding of this concept of justice. Again, your essay must contain narrative elements. It should be a story told in chronological time with descriptions and characters. More importantly, however, your narrative should answer the so what question. And again, we're going to get more into that in weeks 3 and 4 when we actually begin drafting the project. Your essay will be typed, double-spaced with standard 1-inch margins. In week 4, I have a video link for how to format your essay properly. It should have an original title. So essay 1 or narrative essay or justice narrative, none of these are original titles. Your name, my name, the course name should all appear on the first page. And don't forget to number your pages. The length will be 2 to 3 pages, at least 750, and no more than 1,000 words. You're going to submit this to the online Dropbox on September 13th before 11:59 p.m. So again, we have a full 4 weeks before this assignment is due. What I want you to do now is actually just start thinking about what you might want to write about and maybe even keep a list of possible topics.